the president of the Manitoba Métis Federation, David Chartrand. David, how are you?
I'm doing very well, Ray. How are you doing?
Oh, so good so far. They tell me.
Well, they say it's going to be nice next week, so you have something to look forward to now. Like they're talking +2 and -2 and then +2, and so it's going to be kind of messy, but it's going to be definitely a nice week next week to get out of this freezer we're all in.
That's right.
Yeah, good enough. We're going through a cycle of depression on the COVID being locked up and trying to move forward in our lives, but at the same time protecting our families and keep on getting our vaccination and get our young kids vaccinated to protect their parents and their grandparents and their friends and the whole family as a whole. So those are important factors. And at the same time, we watch what's going on in Canada. It's quite crazy in many ways. You have these anti-vaxxers who started off a rally to state that they have the freedom not to take vaccines and follow the rules, like we all do. All of us have given up so much and suffered so much to all help each other to overcome what affected not just our country, and they keep on, don't look only at Canada, see what this thing has done to the world. Mm-hmm. And it crippled the entire world. It wasn't just Canada that's being crippled, the world was crippled. So when we look at, what we've shown as the Métis Nation, we've come together in Manitoba, the Red River, strong. Our families united, our youth, our leaders. They kept their families safe. Now we got people running around, trying to use some of our historical, cultural artifacts, like, for example, some of our things that with great pride we have is our Infinity flag, which was first flown in 1816. Here at the first battle of Frog Plain was definitely ours. Before that, we had it in our community. So it's a Manitoba Red River flag, and it's ours. And now we've seen somebody from Saskatchewan, one of the staff members and maybe politicians from Saskatchewan, that actually one of their board members may have been involved with carrying the Métis Infinity flag, supporting the convoy. And in there, and what people have to realize, this is not just a convoy of truckers and farmers. This is really a convoy of racially biased people, very vicious people in the context of race-based. You looked at their Trumpanians, most of them a lot of them from the United States. They're carrying even right now, they're carrying the Trump flag and they're carrying the Trump caps, and Trump is just igniting this even more and sending out statements from the United States criticizing our government and our country and supporting those individuals that are getting more bolder as the days go. So it's quite a unfortunate situation, but we seem to have riled up those that have hidden pathways towards discrimination, but they're really damaging innocent people, like the Trucking Association in this country. I remember, Ray, throughout my time driving, so much times I've driven across not only Western Canada, but across our province. And way before COVID, I'd honk the horn to a trucker, wave at them, because they're doing a good job. And we have Métis people that are trained in this field. We've trained many truckers. But when you look at what's going on, you thank them for bringing their service. They're providing, hauling our groceries, hauling our supplies across our province, across Canada, and across the prairies where we belong. So when you look at it from that context, you have great pride in them. And it's a job. I told people it's a hard job, a very stressful job to be by yourself all the time. And I have great respect for that. I said there's no way I could ever survive that kind of job. I just don't have the caliber or the character to have that kind of strength to maintain that. But now they're damaging it because they're weaponizing these semis. They're using these semis because they're so large as a weapon to block and infect and harass people. They're pumping their horns 24 hours a day, Ray, driving people insane. So now when you look at a truck, you're going to see there's a weaponized protest tool that these individuals use. Some may have started off this thing with a message, but it's taken over by others already. And that's a typical format. These so-called right-wing, alt-right-wing people, they wait for these kind of events and they jump in there, and then next thing you see the Confederate flag, you'll see the Nazi swastika, the Nazi symbol. I have a hard time saying the word because of my accent, but when you start looking at it, they bring all these racially really vicious historical memories that played against a race. And it really is sad to see. And But they're waiting. They've been always hiding. They're here. They're always here. They just never have enough support. But now they, with Candace Bergen's position supporting them, it is unbelievable. So it's obviously the Conservatives, of the federal Conservatives that is, have really now embraced this Trumpanian kind of ideology of might as well call it, no longer call it the Conservative Party, call it the Republican Party. So it's really become something that's dangerous because these people, if they have that kind of positions and attitudes and mindsets, imagine if they ever became government, what they would do against us as a Métis people, First Nation people, the Black community, the Chinese community, the Filipino community. They are race-based, so obviously we would be facing some very hard, difficult times. And I assure you, if they're ever in power, they'd use the police and the army to upset and take over in many aspects if we ever protested. So again, Ray, for all our people out there, we do not support this. We will never support something of this nature. And definitely the characters that are part of this convoy are, as I said, race-based alt-right. There are some people in there, but you can't believe that they can be foolish enough not to see what's happening to them. So I don't give them any credence of respect. Those that are now in that convoy, they sent their message. If they said they're there innocently just to send a message, they know what's happening. They see the flags, they see the Confederate flag, they see all the negativity, so there's no excuse. They can't hide anymore. They, too, now are responsible by letting it happen or not driving away. And it's sad, too, to see farmers. Farmers are sending an image in here. They have all their tractors in there. And if it's not farmers, where's all these tractors coming from? Mm-hmm. So again, it really begins to question the position of groups of people, groups of the economy that are trying to misuse some of their tools. Well, I guess we still got to start hauling our bombardiers and hauling all of our skidoos and our construction equipment. I could put a protest very quickly if I ever wanted to. And I'm sure I'd be treated differently. I think we'd have the police in there very quickly hauling our stuff out and arresting us with tickets and fines. And that's something I do not appreciate, too, in this country where it seems to be a too focused style of how you treat different people. These individuals are getting too much leniency and getting away with it. So we've got to put a stop to it in this country. We can't let Trump take over. Might as well let Trump run for Prime Minister of this country if that's the case. So, but again, Ray, I'm very proud of our people. We're not behind this. We're not supporting it. Anybody using our flags. In fact, the leader or the GoFundMe program and the one that led the convoy, Ray, she said she's Métis from Alberta. We checked our Red River inventory. She's not from us, our citizenship. She's not attached to us in any historical connection that we find. So I don't know if M&A has given her a card, but she does not fit our criteria. And so when you look at it from the context, there's a serious issue there that there's a person saying she's Métis, and it really begs the question how quickly somebody can use our name and at the same time trying to influence the message across the country that the Métis are supportive of this. We are not supportive of this, and in fact, I'm investigating further on this person that says she's Métis, because I'm going to pursue this vigorously. If we can prove she's not, which are facts right now for us at the Red River, she's not in any way meets our criteria. So, or is applied to meet our citizenship criteria. So, I will brief our people a lot more on that in the future. But it leads to the second part. I had a good meeting with the University of Manitoba, Dr. Cook, and I appointed three individuals, three ministers, by the way, not individuals. Will Goodon, who's a minister, Anita Camel, who spoke to the Métis women, and Lee LaPlante. They're working on what I'm just talking about, identity theft. And the university, as you know, in Saskatchewan, is a big blowout that occurred where the professor was claiming, in fact, in charge of the Indigenous file, claiming to be Indigenous, and then First Nation, then she couldn't, when challenged, she couldn't prove the facts. Then she said Métis, and even further attacks were made by others to prove that she is not Métis. But she quickly was easily said. Then she said she was adopted by the Métis. So anything to try to steal our identity is dangerous, especially when they profess to try to teach our people what our history, our culture, our role we played in Canada, our role we played in the struggle in Canada, and even the battles we had in Canada. So when you have that happening, I'm very pleased to see the University of Manitoba wants to tackle this issue. And in closing, I think it's got to be clear. They've got to recognize the Métis government and the First Nation governments. That's what they go to see if these citizens that claim to be First Nation or Métis pass the test. because they should not just be allowed to say, oh, I'm freedom, I can say anything I want, I can be Métis whenever I want, I have freedom of choice. That's not the case. There's provisions in place, and you want to be a Canadian, there's rules that apply to be a Canadian. So there's rules that apply to be part of the Métis Nation. So, again, Ray, that's I commend the team that's there. I think Ovid Mercury sits on the committee. Barbara Bruce, which I have ultimate great respect for, sits along there. And there's one other person, I don't have it in front of me, but there's three of them that sit on that committee and that commission. And I'm very pleased to see that. I had a good chance to hear Margaret from Saking also do the prayer. Again, Margaret, was great to hear that message. And it's very wise that we listen to our elders when they send prayers or tell stories, Ray. You'll see that in the Métis Minute now in the mornings when you get up in CTV, or sometimes in evening news. We have our Métis Minute that plays out in CTV. And you'll see it's about storytelling, it's about history, it's about our culture, but it's about our elders guiding us by stories. And if you listen carefully to an elder, you may not have a doctorate degree sitting on a wall, but he's got tons of wisdom that a doctorate degree probably never would have gave him. So when you listen very carefully to the elders, and you'll hear stories. But in those stories will be messages. There'll be a lesson to be learned. So I think I encourage people to really, especially our young people, and we're going to have an annual youth and elder conference, but of course COVID stole that from all of us. I guarantee you, Ray, they'll be back on the drug war. Even your stories, Ray, your struggles. When you started off in the music industry, you didn't just walk into a show somewhere and that you were famous next day. You had to go bar after bar and travel after travel, all-nighters and struggles just to make sure that people will be attracted to your music and that you are worthy of being recognized as a star in the music world, and that you can definitely play and hold your own on when it comes to music. And those stories that you talk about, how you struggle to eat sandwiches and coffee all night long, just traveling to get where you're packed up in the vehicle. You didn't start off, did you had enough money to go buy a big bus or something? Ray St. Germain show is traveling across. You struggled like everybody else in the Métis community and suffered economically, starting off with the attributes of trying to figure out how do you get from A to B with a few change in your pocket. And I'm sure you got a lot of lessons to tell people in the music world, Ray, how hard it is to get through that cycle, and only a few are successful ever making it.
Well, it's not easy, that's for sure. It's just like...
Yeah, it's definitely not easy. We know that, and musicians know it too. The artists know it. But we had a good cabinet meeting, Ray. We had a 2-day cabinet session meeting, and very pleased. Again, our cabinet is unbelievable amount of files that we now manage over across the province. We're looking at about 160, 170 budgets. So it is huge. It is so huge now. Minister of Finance, Anita Campbell, is doing an excellent job. But when you go back and we start looking at our resources, our investments, and then our future plans, like right now we have surpluses, early learning childcare, but that's all going to be gone because we're building daycare centers, and we're going to build 15 or 16 in total. And so the money we see as a surplus there, people can see that number in the finance and say, holy, look all the money you have. Well, that's not money we can spend. It's already projected to be spent on building these daycare centers, which we plan to build right across Manitoba, and create 200 to 300 jobs in over 1,000 spaces. Another one that's really needs to take off a little bit more is the smaller communities that will not have a daycare center because they're just too small. But we're actually giving them grants, Ray, to start their own daycare center in their house. Will help. I think there's grants to help you fix your house to meet the standards of a daycare center. There's rules that apply, of course, and to have a certain size attached to your daycare center. But we actually, a grant is free. You don't pay for it. So once you succeed in applying and getting past that hurdle, you can have a business, running a small business in your community as a daycare or child care center. So Minister Chartrand is working on that file again. So she's working on many files, Minister Chartrand. And so when you look at it from that context, you can see that the opportunity does exist there for small entrepreneurial single families, married families that want to start a business. And I hear so many times, I wish I could have this. I wish I had just a head start and I could start my own business. Well, there's an opportunity for the smaller communities that will not have daycare centers that we're building in these bigger places because of the maximum size we need to make sure that the financial operations are feasible when we open these daycare centers. Remember, we're going to employ 200 to 300 people, and that's another piece that I keep on echoing on our show. Get our people out there, young people. We're going to start going to the schools right at the grade 10 level and on. Start doing an education program that it is a good career to get a child care sector field of training, get a certification, go into developing that field of taking care of children, but going on to management. And I'm talking, Ray, these are in the 30s, $40 when you're a manager. Like, this is good paying work now. It used to be before very minor salaries, and minimum wage is really the number. They weren't given a high priority, but today you see they're a high priority in this country, and there's 32,000 spaces needed in Manitoba. The province is way behind. Our action is going to create over 1,000, maybe 1,500 spaces attach itself across this province. So we're going to play a big role in helping out. And that's just the beginning. We plan to build, as we go, we'll build more of our needs. And in the future, looking at different venues and ways we can help our families and our mothers and our young mothers that want to go back to school, want to get a career, but they need a daycare. They need somebody to help take care of their child. So and right now we depend on family, but we need to start putting a system that we can actually help the young family or any family that wants to go out and return to their education or career, but get a daycare center or child care center to help them out. But again, Ray, we had a good meeting with Winnipeg Regional Health Authority, the new director, and it was good to see and good to talk to him because these new directors that come in. He's actually from British Columbia. When you look at them not knowing who we are, who the Métis are, it just sets the stage. They need to understand who they're dealing with. They're dealing with a Métis government. They're not just there to tell us what to do or dictate to us what they're going to do. So, but from that standpoint, I just want to tell Mike Naders his name, and they came to our office. We had a good discussion. We talked about where we're going as a federation. I advised them during COVID that the Winnipeg Regional Health Authority was also not there for us, and that our citizens were on their own, and we had to suffer the consequences of trying to fend for our own. And thank God the Métis government was strong, and our team was ready, and our team took action immediately, and we were able to bring COVID to a standstill in some of our villages, and actually not allow it to have full blown out, explosion into our families and communities and causing great harm and death. So we know we did lose people. We know people got sick, and I got COVID. Other people got COVID. So we survived. But again, vaccines help. Without the vaccine, I assure you, I think, Ray, I would have had a difficult or a different situation occur to me. When I got it, I tell you, I had a hard time breathing. My body was aching. I'm still right now, in fact, suffering through exhaustion. I was so exhausted when I had it. And I broke into sweats at night, and then I got better in the morning. Every time it's like pneumonia. I got pneumonia a few times in my life. And so, but if I didn't have my third vaccine shot, my booster shot, I don't think I would have been laying in a hospital with a machine in my throat and trying to breathe. So again, people need to understand that. That's why these people that are doing this, anti-vaxxers, 70% of them are in our hospitals, filling them up, stopping people that need surgery, that need to be looked after, people with cancer. And you look at people that are calling us at our office, they're so scared, they're so worried, they can't get into the hospital, they can't get into a doctor, they can't, because these anti-vaxxers are filling up our hospitals. And then they say it's our business, it's our right, but so is the right of our individuals that are scared to die or could be saved because you could prevent tackling the cancer in your body if you give it enough notice. So, but if you can't even get a doctor, get into the hospital then because they're filled the beds already, that is not right, that's not fair. And if you want to talk about fair and equitable processes, then if you don't want to take a vaccine, maybe don't go to the hospital. Let the other people that are needing it get in there. People that have cancer and people that have other chronic illnesses that are potentially taking their lives. So again, Ray, I can go on and on that issue, but we did raise something with the Winnipeg Regional Authority. Again, a good positive announcement by Minister of Health Francis Chartrand. We're actually putting out our own vans, Ray. We're going to have our own health clinical vans going out. We bought 2 of them already. It's the first time in our history that we're actually going into program delivery when it comes to that. We're doing, of course, limitation only because we're starting from vans. But our plan is to, in the future, have our own health clinics in our some communities and move forward to have nurses working with our citizens and doctors. And so we're in a pathway towards where we're going. So I praise the Minister for work, and Lena at our office was a new director. I want to thank her for her work, but I am so proud to see it in my time that the Métis are going to have their own clinical and program services coming out and driving into our communities. And then we're going to build those ones in the bigger centers. We have a plan to build also to make sure we provide services by the Métis government. So we're in a new era, a new pathway, and I applaud them very, very clearly for the work they're doing there, and I look forward to that. I'm also leaving. I leave actually tomorrow. I'm in Toronto. I'm meeting with a business investor on Metrolinx. It's called. It's a vending business that he's been able to be successful, I believe, in bidding for. It's a massive, massive win for him, and we're looking to see if there's a way that we can actually get our clause inside there to see if there's a way we can own part of it or be part of the process. And that's a relationship I've been building for some time. And so as I travel, people, sometimes criticize me on Facebook and Twitter and all the rest. Oh, he's traveling all over. Well, I'm traveling all over to make new opportunities, new business for us. So because that's the only way we're ever going to survive as government, to be able to take care of ourselves and develop our own economy of scale. And we had a good, and I tell you, Ray, the announcement that's coming up this coming week. Of course, you heard me on the show, and it was first on NCI FM and Métis Hour, announcing that we are starting it's going to be called the Red River Métis Fur Company. And so the incorporation is being worked on. Next week, the announcement's coming out, and we're putting up a hell of a big chunk of money into it right away. So trappers out there, of course, we have to go by the seasons of the fur. We are meeting with other individuals to make sure we get their expertise on this field, because we're not experts when it comes to fur briding trap. We haven't done it for so long and never been truly embraced with having control over that empire. Only in the 1800s we were in control. But now I'm actually looking forward to the development of this business. And what it's, as I said on the show before, the majority of the first purchase of all of our furs is going to be for helping our artisans continue developing their great work that they do, and then marketing their work to the world. And so whether it's muskrat hats or beaver gloves or whatever, shows, mucklucks, and we're also going to look at, I know there's institutions of business that does exist where the hides of our moose, our deer, and elk, we really want to go back and develop that again, the traditional way. We're going to have to look if it's viable financially, but definitely I want to start doing that again, because that's the hide I think our artisans will tell you is the best. So we need to get that out, but we need to make sure we can compensate the harvesters when they're out there to bring their hide to us, and they can get at least a decent coin for it. And then we can make sure it's tanned, or they can tan it for us. We pay it at a higher rate. But I want to get that kind of hide back into our artisans' hands. And again, I think this is a market that needs to happen. It's a micro-business. But for us, it's a big announcement, Ray. You'll hear it next Wednesday. Yep. We anticipate Wednesday is when it'll go out. So, again, on a lot of other stuff, like our federation is just nonstop. It is so big now. I can't wait for COVID to go. We have got some good news with the Premier's announcement. Our assembly is March 25th, 26th, and 27th at the Assiniboine Downs. Previously to the announcement by Premier Stephenson, there was only 250. That worried us a lot. And now with the shift of change, it's for sure we can bring 750 citizens there. Our local leaders will be there for sure, elders and youth. And so when you look at it, we can bring 750. Usually you have about 3,000 people in and out there throughout the 3 days. But now 750 at least gives me a little more comfort. The Infinity Woman also has their assembly, and Nita's got to get venue for that. I'm sure she's working on that already with our team. And she's got a lot to report on, and the hard work she's been doing. So, but again, from that standpoint, it's a good message, 750 for sure, as long as nothing else goes crazy in this world. And in fact, it might even be open by March 25th, 26th, according to what we're hearing from the government. So if it opens, then we'll get 1,000, we'll get 2,000, and we're in our next level of going back to normalcy again. And I'm one, and I'm sure every citizen I speak to is out there looking for it. Also, met with our new lawyers for harvesters out there listening that got charged or are potentially going to get charged. I want to express to them that we are on this. We'll make sure our citizens are well protected. We have Saul Simons' firm now been given the opportunity to take over the file to make sure that our people are well protected in the courts. And so we had a good meeting yesterday on that issue. There's also, again, thank Marcy, and I want to also express my condolences to Marcy and her family for the loss of her father-in-law, and again to their family, our personal, from my wife, and also from the cabinet and the rest of our nation. I want to give my condolences to your family, Marcy, and all that are out there, I know, right now hurting and trying to go through the grieving process. So a lot of birthdays. My time's going to run out shortly. I try to keep it to a limitation of time, so let our callers get in. But there's so much to report on. It's getting tighter and tighter. How do I say everything that's going on? So I tell people, get into this NCI. Listen to Métis Hour. You'll hear what's going on in your government. You'll hear the amount of jobs that are out there. There's job after job. We're seeking and hiring more and more and more. And so we need to find the people. Business opportunities, investments, farmers, business that we're going into, ranchers. We're still giving out funding. We're giving our hamper systems going back into play again. So when you start looking at all of this, we're doing the shoveling program Ray announced on the show was well received by our elders. The big tankies we're getting from the Southwest, the Interlake, and all over the place are so appreciative that we have taken the cultural way of taking care of our elders. So the young people, entrepreneurs, I think one said there's 8 young entrepreneurs already in the Southeast region, I believe, that have taken on the challenge and are doing the contract work to make sure they're clearing the houses and the driveways and steps of our elders. So, again, it snowed a little bit last night, and probably some more work needs to be done out there. But we're going to compensate them. We're going to pay them, and this might become a regular program, not just because we have heavy snow this year, but then up at the summertime. We want to make sure we take care of our elders when the grass is too high, and it just like John Chaboyer. You know, I gave him hell as an elder. I should never, but I did, because his wife gave him hell because he's trying to shovel, and he's 80-something years old. You know, you get a heart attack. You know, so you got to watch that stuff. It's like you, Ray, to go, and you're entitled to that program, Ray. If nobody at your house, you have snow, you call the Winnipeg region, they'll send somebody to go shovel your snow. Andrew Carrier and Dave Boudon, and you look at John Remillard, they take this seriously. So they already said they got quite a bit of young people calling in, and they're going out with their shovels, and we're going to be paying them. So our elders listening on the show right now, you call your region right away or call the MMF and say, look, I have high snow, I need to get out, I need my wheelchair can't fit, or my car can't get out, I need help to hold the shovel, I don't want you to touch your little pension, and then you pay somebody to do it when MMF government definitely can help out right now. So call the office, we'll be there to help you. Now there's birthdays, Ray, I'll close off with these birthdays. Happy 27th birthday to Genevieve Benoit, of course, is our new one-day leading lawyer. She's very sharp. She's, of course, a practicing lawyer already, and she's attending and leading most of these meetings we're having with all, whether it's land claims, whether it's harvesting rights, whether it's charges against our harvesters, whether it's the self-government agreement, the treaty. She's part of that overall discussion that's happening, even with the lawsuit that this fake lawsuit that they put onto us. We'll deal with. They're actually trying to use the civil courts as a weapon, and that's because they can't fight us politically, and they're trying to find a back door of how to hurt our reputation. And I want to tell our elders out there who are worried about David, don't worry about me. I got your back, and we will hold these people accountable that are threatening to sue us for no reason at all, just to hurt our reputation. But happy 48th birthday to Sean Ray. That's April Hurry's husband, and out in Selkirk, Manitoba. Sean, happy birthday. And if you want to buy a vehicle, you go to see Sean at the Chevrolet dealership in Selkirk. He'll be there to give you the best deal he possibly can. Happy 25th birthday to senior policy analyst Zach Carter. These young guys really work so hard. We're there usually 6, 7 o'clock at night, still sitting there going over after we finish our work, and we go through all the policies and strategies of where we're going. So, Zach, happy birthday. Happy birthday to Denise Thomas, one of our longest-serving ministers and vice presidents in the Southeast region. And, you know, I don't know a world it'll be like without Denise sitting around that table. So, Denise, happy birthday from me and Glora, of course, and the family and your cabinet.
Happy birthday.
And I know her heart is, she's still a fighter. There's no way of taking this away from her. And I look forward to this in the future election. I'll do all my best to support her to make sure she gets reelected, because she's a asset to our government. Happy 42nd birthday to Thomas Peranto. Happy Tommy. Thomas, happy birthday. He thinks he's good at golf, but he's not that good. But happy birthday. Happy 61st birthday to Ray Roulette, that's Don Roulette's brother. He works for Avento Hydro. He started with us in maintenance, Ray, and he progressed into Hydro after that, and he works now a long-term employment, permanent job, very senior job with Hydro. So happy 61, Ray. And also Tyson Pronto, 21st birthday today. Tyson, happy birthday, and I'm sure I'll have something for you. On condolences, Ray, I want to say condolences to the Fleury family and the loss of Nancy Fleury. I was married to Eugene Fleury. Everybody knows Eugene, and Toulon and Nancy and Eugene were very active and always making sure Canada Day, all those celebrations that happen. And I thank Eugene and the family of Nancy and all of those the Fleury's that really always made sure that the culture of the Métis were alive in Toulon and the surrounding areas. It's a great thing to know that these fighters deserve a great respect. So send prayers out to the Fleury family. We really appreciate it. I'll send some tonight before I go to bed. So again, with that, Ray, I'll talk to you guys next Saturday. You keep up the good work and keep safe. And as I said, don't shovel that snow. You get a hold of the region, and you get a hold of my office. There'll be somebody going into your house to shovel snow, and we will pay them. Okay. And so again, you take care, everybody. And also, Kenny, you could dream to skunk me in crib. You could dream about Kenny, but you'll never skunk me in crib. You're my pet when it comes to crib. Kenny and I take so much money from Kenny, I don't even talk about it in the show, because Kenny is just my pet when it comes to crib. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.
All right, David, thank you. David Chartrand, the president of the Manitoba Métis Federation. This is his weekly report, Métis Matters.